Hey guys, it's me Delta1 here with Airsoft Talk, and it's rant time. Okay, now this is all off the top of my head. There's no editing, there may be some profanity. Okay, so I mentioned something about milsim, and there's dogs in the background. Please just deal with it for the time being. Okay, anyways, rant time. So I mentioned something about milsim and how it's kind of affected where I play and where other players play from what I've seen. Now, granted, milsim, that's cool. You want to do the training. I respect that. But there's a point in time where it's gone overboard and it's crossed the line for certain players and whatnot. When you force upon me magazine restrictions, get the hell out of here. No. No. You want to host a milsim game? Make it clearly evident when you go and sign up for it that there's going to be mag restrictions. Okay? Now, granted, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Then it becomes a select group of people who end up only doing that, and then when you want to schedule a game, you can't. Because no one's going to show up. Because everyone just went and bought all this crap to go do that. That's what ends up happening. So there's people like me. I find loopholes. I will do that. I don't care if it offends you, because you're forcing your opinion on me. I don't force my opinion on you. Okay? Like, for instance, I've heard of games, support gunners can only have one auto-winding mag. That's perfectly fine. Okay? Certain fields say if the military uses it, you can use it. So I said, okay, that's fine. Okay, so I went out of my way, built an 80,000 round backpack box feeding mag. First thing that someone says to me, you can't use that. I'm like, why not? They're like, well, the United States military doesn't use it. I said, bullshit. I was like, I pull up on Wikipedia the Iron Man box mag, made for a 308. It was originally for the Mark 48, I believe, and it was designed to go over the shoulder right here, and it was an M134 minigun ammo container that had an ammo chute that fed over your shoulder into your gun. Okay? The reason he made it was because you could only carry maximum 6, maybe 800 rounds. Okay? With that, he can still have his 3-day assault pack, have room for his food, have it on an Alice frame backpack, which is great because it's got that back support, so it's not ridiculous. It can carry 3,100 rounds. Okay? I was like, if that is not used by the United States military, then I wouldn't use it, but unfortunately it is, so you can suck on it. I was like, so leave me the hell alone. Okay? Then you get the stuff like using riot shields. Granted, okay, riot shields, whatever, they can't stop bullets. They can help you, they can stop low caliber bullets, but we're not playing calibers, right? So I use my e-bike riot shield. I can't use that where I play because it's unfair. How is that unfair? I'm 6'2", I'm a big fat guy. Okay, I could barely stay within the diameter of the shield width-wise. I was like, how am I going to be how is that going to affect you? All it does is let me look around corners. That's the whole purpose I have for it. And half the time I'm carrying a pistol. A gas pistol on top of that, which doesn't have anywhere near amount of range as your DMR, because you're complaining because you're hitting my shield, and I'm not calling my hit. Guess what? It's a shield, that's what it was meant for, that's why I bought it. Okay? And it's not like you can't shoot my legs. I'm 6'2". Even when I crouch, you could still hit me. I can't perfectly keep it that way. It's a shield. That's what it was meant to do. That's why they sell them. It was meant for CQB. Granted, I would admit that would be a little bit of a bitch move to use that in CQB because, you're going for center mass. You don't have the time to go shoot at someone's feet or the opportunity. That's why I don't use it. So I've had incidences where I've heard of instances where people want to get real technical. So I said, okay. I told them, I said, how much money do you have? They're like, well, I have this much money. Go buy a K6-3 helmet, the only helmet in the world that can stop a 30 caliber round. If you want to get real technical, no one else out there is going to have anything above a 30 caliber round unless you have someone running around with a Snowwolf Barrett, or like a 408 Shytech, or 338 Lapua. But to last time to my knowledge, I don't see very many of those on the field at all. So if they shoot you in the head with a BB, don't call your hit. You're still alive. It stopped the round. That's getting real technical, and that's what happens. They force that. Here's where it gets even dumber, okay? I've heard of, recently I saw a video on e-bike. This just infuriated me, okay? So People have been buying these Polar Stars. Granted, I love Polar Stars. I think they're the coolest thing in the world. Granted, the people who buy them have this ego that you just want to punch them in the face. They're just like, yes, oh, I have a Polar Star. Granted, not every Polar Star owner has that. I'm not saying all of them do, but a huge majority of them do. Just like people who run KWA guns have that ego. Some people do, some people don't, but a majority of them do. I'm not trying to offend, and I'm not saying you have an ego. But the fact is, they're like, okay, well, I can bump mine up to 100 RPS. It won't freaking feed. The return rate on the nozzle isn't fast enough. The magic number I've heard is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 88 to like maybe 90. And that's if you like stretch it. Give me a moment. Right? So this guy, on Evike's video, spends all this time setting up a dual sector gear setup. It's basically a sector gear with 2 sets of teeth, and you're half stroking. And you have a ridiculously high FPS spring in there, where you have a spring guide spacer with a Siege Tech short and custom spring, whatever. The highest FPS I've ever seen crank out of one of those was like 340. That's unbelievable. That's phenomenal. Right? So, granted, he's not really going to have that much, you know, he may have range if he IR hops it, or if he R hopped it, or if he has just this God setup where Jesus just said, you know what, I'm going to piss on this, and it's going to be absolutely amazing because I pissed on it. Okay? Granted, say you got the 100 yards, you got 300 feet, because Jesus pissed on it. Just saying. Okay? Granted, you may have that. Okay? By the time the BB hits you, it's going to be like someone's throwing Rice Krispies. Like they just took a big hand of Rice Krispies out of some cereal and threw it at you. You're going to feel it, but it's not going to hurt. Okay? Granted, most people who do dual sector setups, you know, rarely I see them above 320. Rarely. Very, very seldomly do I see that. Most of the time I see people with around 280 to 300 is the more common FPS reading that I've seen. And you know what? They're using maybe .25s at that point. So they're even slower than that, but they have the accuracy and they get distance. Okay? Because of these Polar Stars, people have been bumping them up and they keep their FPS. And one of the things about Polar Stars, if you drop a lower weight BB in them, you don't, I mean a higher weight BB, say you're shooting like 550 with like, you know, a .2 out of a Polar Star, and you throw in a .40, you're not going to drop like you would to about 380 from my friend who had like a 570, 560 setup. He put a .40 in it, and he was getting somewhere in the neighborhood of like 390, 380. Okay? You won't have that happen because of the way the Polar Star works. You're going to be getting somewhere in the vicinity of like 480 to 500. Okay? This is an issue because no one fails to address it, because no one wants to hear it. Okay? This is from my experience, and this is what I've been told by people who've worked for Polar Star. The FPS drop doesn't happen. So realistically, you're having a gun that's, you know, let's just throw a random number out here. I don't know the exact mathematical equation of what AEG would have to shoot with a .40 to equal 500. So let's just say, so that's 100 and, so 550 minus that, that'd be 150. So that's 160 FPS drop off. Okay, so in order to get 500, you're looking at 650. 650. No, I'm sorry, 700 feet per second. To get 550 with an AEG on a .40. That is just a huge guesstimation. I know there's going to be some people that are going to contradict me on some of the things I've said. I'm off the top of my head doing mathematical equations that I'm going to be corrected on. Just don't be rude about it. Okay? Polar Stars, you can have them at ridiculous setups. You can have them at 650 shooting like 80 RPS. Okay? Don't limit the people who spend all the time and money to do the AEGs, because it takes so much time, it takes so much work just to get a dual sector to hit that way. Why should we be punished? Look at the Polar Star people. Look at the people who have that. Granted, yes, you went and spent $800, but you didn't work on anything. People with AEGs have to sit and tinker. And the whole part of that is keeping our air seal and modifying the tappet plate return spring, praying to God that, you know, we find a high cap that works. You know, just getting high caps to feed at 50 can be tricky. It's not, you can't just pop in something on a setup, on a dual section setup like that. And that's why it pained me, because this dude's went and spent all of his time and his money to be told he can't use it. Because there's now an RPS regulation. Get the hell out of here. He's shooting like 280. Okay, granted, he might run up and he might burst you. Okay, but if you're worried about insurance policies, take it from a different perspective. Look at the Polar Star people. They don't have the FPS drop-offs that we do. Honestly, I mean, and I've seen Polar Stars go up to like almost 1,400 feet per second. That was modified by a YouTuber named I think it's What45 or something. I can't remember his name on Airsoft Mechanics. I don't know. He's one of the big guys on Airsoft Mechanics. But no, this just infuriates me, because this comes down to the whole Milsim thing. We now have to switch over their rules. I play Airsoft to go out there, hip fire my machine gun, and have a barrel of laughs. That's what I do. And I don't do tactics because they don't work in Airsoft unless everybody else is doing it. And you know what? Even if they are doing it, say the entire other team's doing it, I've done this before. I've sent friends with like a landmine on his chest. And he's gone over there and gone, Jerk Muhammad Jihad, boom. He takes out 9 of 10 people on their team. We still have 9 people. And they get mad at us. That wouldn't happen. It's not a real combat situation. I said, it happens all the time. I said, it's called guerrilla warfare. I was like, granted, your tactics are cool. You look cool doing it to you. You do. I personally don't care. Like, it's just not my thing. But I don't force my stuff upon you. That's my whole point to this. Milsim has become a very evil thing. Now granted, Milsim is fun. I will sit here and tell you it's fun if you go to Operation Irene and you play by their restrictions, because everyone's playing by their restrictions, and they have gun trucks running around firing blanks, and that's totally different from just going to your local field. It is. Because you are literally in a combat situation for a week shooting at each other, essentially. And you have to take what you can carry. But I don't have that here. And, you know, the fact that when Milsim gets involved and you go to a big event, money. The moment you go into the door. There was a big event that I was going to go to. They wanted $140 for a day of playing. That didn't even give me anything. That was just me being able to walk in the door. So granted, I'm going to have to spend money on gas because it was a 4-hour drive, so let's just assume we're taking a truck because it's the only way we can carry all of our crap. So we're going to get maybe, you know, 20 miles to the gallon, so 4-hour drive times 4 times 6 is what? It's 24. So, you know, divide that by 20. That's 4. Then 4. There's no way 4 gallons would do it. Well, that's there and back. So that's 8 gallons of gas, which is going right here. So 8 times 4 is 32. So that's $32 I have to spend for gas. It may not sound like a lot, but it is. Because that's on top of what you're already having to pay just to go out there. Okay, then you gotta account for food, you gotta account for all the ammo you're gonna have to buy, you have to account for time and money. So by the time I'm done with that, I'm looking at like almost $400. $400 I'd rather save up another $100 to go buy a Wazir 10 AK-47. I got a Facebook message. But anyways, I think Milsim is cool. That's fine. Don't force it upon us. Because there's the people out there that like the fact that you can treat Airsoft as if you're in a video game. And I'm going to make a Call of Duty reference here, so pardon me. But Airsoft to me is like going and playing Call of Duty online. Doing stupid stuff just to make someone angry. And not necessarily make them angry, but just to be like, I did that and that was ridiculous. You know, I went and did CQB with a grenade launcher with a Glock 18 AP under it, and I split it off because I had to hit 2 targets. I took my quick release button and went because that's fun. Sitting in a formation and doing that is not fun to me. Being tactical and getting yelled at for not clearing a corner in less than 1.8 seconds is not fun to me. It's not. If I want to be milsim and I want to be tactical and I want to do real tactical drills, I'd rather go do it with a pistol on a little shooting range. That's just me. Because I don't use expensive gear, I use Russian gear. It's better made than American because it's got 7-ply stitching, the material's better in almost every single way. You can argue me on that. I'll grant it. You can argue and sit here and tell me yours is better. That's fine. You know, you may have better gear than me, but the fact is I spent less for something that's this much. And that's what I do. I like dressing up in my Russian stuff. And if you like dressing up in your stuff, I commend you for that. But don't force it upon other people. And why should we have to follow by magazine restrictions because you want to use a 30-round mag? Because it becomes unfair to you. If you want to be tactical and practical, use a high-cap mag. Deal with the rattling around. You'll have more ammo. You'll be able to do your tactical stuff. And if you're going to sit here and tell me you get into a shoot-off and just a dead man stand where you just shooting at each other, go use your tactics and flank me. That's my huge issue with this. And it's not that it's just all at my field. Some of these things have happened in my field, some of them haven't. These are just things I've been seeing. But the rate of fire restriction, I could maybe understand that for CQB. Because, you know, you just can't stop shooting. You know, by the time the guy says I'm hit, you've already popped them 30, 40 times. That's understandable. But don't take away full auto. And the people that sit here and complain, oh, I don't do CQB, you can't do full auto CQB because it hurts. You signed a waiver putting yourself in a situation knowing you're going to get shot, and you're going to sit here and complain to me that it hurts? Quit your bitching and sell your gun and quit playing airsoft. That's what pisses me off. And that's why I absolutely can't stand it. Because they quit doing full auto for that freaking reason. Because they're like, it's unfair. And I was like, look, I made a bet with somebody. I said, look, your 40 RPS gun is just as effective as my 600 RPS gun. I took out an entire enemy team in 21 seconds, and they all had 40 rounds per second guns. You know what I took them out with? A Glock AAP and a Well Scorpion. Yeah. They didn't even get anyone out on my team. I took all 5 people out. It doesn't matter what gun you have. Don't restrict, you know, if they want to shoot more ammo, let them shoot more ammo. I shoot, you know, anywhere from 20,000 on a really bad day, 80,000 rounds. Because I won't stop shooting. Because that's how I like to play. Don't force your opinion on how I like to play. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't tell you not to do milsim. I don't tell you, and God forbid, when it gets a little ridiculous and I have said something, I get chewed out. You know, it's like, okay, you're kind of crossing my line. I make a stand for myself, and I said, hey, can we do something different? And they're like, well, I don't like doing that. And I said, well, it's fun. Like, Grant, here's a concept for you. Would you go play airsoft if everyone used bolt-action rifles that fired 400 FPS with iron sights and did a World War I trench-style fight? I would absolutely love to do that. I played games in CQB called Nothing Under 39. It's a game I made up. If you can use the gun, but you have to have your magazine well behind your shoulder. You have to hold the gun like this and do CQB. And it's called Nothing Under 39, which means no gun under 39 inches can go. And that means your barrel has to be, you can't just stick a suppressor on your gun. That's the whole concept, nothing under 39. You know, I like making cool stuff. I have a project for a saw where I'm going to undermount it to my arm. like the T-800 Terminator gun and wire the trigger and the box winding mag here and hook up my backpack box mag to it, into the mag, and then run a riot shield. Granted, I have no accuracy at all. Whatever my arm does is how I'm aiming. I don't have an optic. I'm not going to go buy a laser because that'd be expensive to get a good one to see during the day. But the fact is, that's what I like doing. I like having fun. And airsoft is becoming this huge milsim thing. That's fine. But you need to have a 50-50, not an 80-20. It needs to be 50-50. And, you know, you milsim people, give the fun part a try. That's all I'm asking. But that won't happen. Because I guess I'm a dying breed. That's just my little rant. I'm not down on anybody. I'm just saying this is what makes me angry. And this is what I'm tired of hearing. This is what I'm tired of having to deal with. This is, I mean, it's gotten to the point where evidently I have to go pay to film now. Just throwing it out there. And that was the forum's wishes, apparently, so they made it to where I have to pay to film. It's so stupid. There's no reason for that. Anyways, guys, sorry I had to rant about this. I hope I didn't offend anybody. If I did offend you, I sincerely did not mean it. It's just, there needs to be a point in time where you need to just break down and break the normal and just have fun. Just good old fun. You know, like Springer Wars. Some of the best times I've ever had in airsoft. And I missed that. Because you did crazy, stupid shit. And it was fun. Anyways, guys, life is good and I'll see you in the next video.